Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to another training on marketing for your equestrian business. You know, that is why I'm always here with you, showing up live, showing up on the podcast, showing up in your email inbox if we are email friends, always talking about practical ways that you can market your equestrian business. And today we are diving into social media particularly. Okay, so we are going to talk specifically today about ways that you can get outside of your bubble and build connections on social media. And I just realized I didn't do that, so we're just going to unplug this. I didn't even plug in my microphone. That'll be just fine. Well, I have it right there. Now I can talk with my hands freely. Okay, friends, so we're going to talk specifically about ways that you can build connections on social media, and in particular, the practical ways that you can do that by getting outside of your bubble. So you're going to learn why you cannot and should not skip the social part of social media, as well as how you can build relationships on social media when posting is not working for you. If you're somebody that's saying, Denise, I've been posting, creating content, but I still can't get that traction, we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about some practical things that you can and should be doing after you post on social media. All right. So grab your notebooks. I have got some really super practical things that you can do starting today. But first, let's talk about why we're even discussing these things. Now, you're showing up on social media. In particular, many of you or most of you are at least on Instagram and Facebook. You may be dabbling in TikTok and you may be dabbling in other ways, but the bulk of you, I know when I chat with you, is Instagram and Facebook as far as actually getting conversions and making connections with your audience. So that is really what we're going to hone in on. But know that the things that I'm talking about apply to the other platforms at large as well, okay? The strategies and the concepts behind them. And so you're there, right? You're on these platforms, you're creating content, you're showing up live, you're posting reels, doing all of these things because you're a business owner and your goal is to use social media to build your equestrian business, whatever that looks like to you, your version of success, right? But we know as a business owner, your version of success does mean getting clients and customers from what you are doing on social media. And so the content that you create absolutely matters when it comes to your social media. Today, we are talking about ways that you can get outside of your bubble. So in addition to creating your intentional strategic content, there are things that you can be doing. But I don't want to skip over the content piece, okay? I don't want you to think that's what I'm doing. I am not saying your content strategy doesn't matter. Actually, it's the opposite. I really believe your content strategy matters, and that is why it is such an important piece of what we do inside of Take the Reins, my one-on-one coaching program. We create a strategy around that that's cohesive with your website, your email marketing, and your overall goal and vision for your horse business. So let me just tell you that from the get-go. Today, we're not talking about your content strategy, but it matters greatly. Now, if you want to hear a little bit more about my mindset around your content and some specific practical ways that you can evaluate your content, I'm actually going to send you to a previous podcast episode I have done on the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. So if you head to stormlily.com/49, or go to any of your podcast players and listen to episode 49, you will see it is 5 ways to grow your horse business with social media. You'll learn more about how to grow your business with a solid content creation strategy, including my 3 R's for creating engaging content. So that is another resource I want to push you to or let you know that's available. And that is on the podcast. It's episode number 49. I will put it in the comments for you, okay? Because your content strategy absolutely matters. But past that, when it comes to social media, there is more to utilizing social media for your equestrian business than just creating content. Because remember, it is called social media. That means you need to be social. It means it really is created. The heart of social media was not just to create a marketing platform. Remember, it was created to connect people. And so that's still the heart of how your marketing should work. It should be a connection point to connect you with the right people for your equestrian business, okay? So perhaps up until now, you've been thinking social media was just a place that you needed to build your audience and get that really high follower count. or you needed to post every day, but then you have forgotten to go outside of that and really build those relationships. But today, what I want you to understand is that it is about being social. Because you may be saying, Denise, I am creating content. I'm doing what you said. I'm following those 3 R's from that podcast episode, but it's still not working for me. Then you may be also saying, Denise, I have built a following, but I'm not getting the traction I wanted. I'm still not converting. And so there are a few things that if you and I were sitting on a clarity coaching call together or a one-on-one session and you're saying, this is where I'm struggling, I want to talk with you about a few reasons why your social media may not be working, okay? Now, we talked the other day about the stats. And so you know, of course, that 3% of your followers organically, on average, are going to see your content. Okay, so just remember the numbers when you are looking at what's working and what's not. Okay, but I also want you to think about, why are people not engaging in terms of showing up and taking action and doing what you've asked them to do, or having conversations in your direct messages and sending you emails, or engaging in those other ways, because that's how you're going to gauge if social media is working for you, okay? It's not just about the follower count, all right? And we've talked about that before, so hopefully you know that. Now, remember, we are here because you're an equestrian entrepreneur. So you are here to build those connections. You're here to build your business, which also means you are not just here because you're relying on brand recognition, meaning those of you who are listening, watching this training, and engaging in the comments, you're here because you are not the Justin Boots, right? You're not the whatever brand you want to put in that you're so familiar with, okay? That's not who's here. You're here because you are a small business owner. You're an entrepreneur who is building your equestrian business, and that means you cannot rely solely on brand recognition when it comes to your social media. You need to be building trust. You need to be building connections. Yes, building awareness of your brand with your content, but also making those one-on-one connections that are going to help you to connect with the right people, learn about your audience, and ultimately turn them into your customers, okay? So that being said, I want to give you some specific ideas that you can take today and start applying to get outside of your bubble. Okay, so let's assume you've already created that content. Now what? What do? You're sitting there going, Denise, I created it, but nobody's commented on it. Just a few people are liking it. I don't know what else to do. I want to give you some specific things that you can do to help you to build those important connections, okay? Now, let me give a quick caveat before I start into that. I want you to first be sure you are clear on who you are for and who you're wanting to connect with, because these ideas that I'm about to give you, they're not going to work if you are just looking at very broad audience, okay? If you are just trying to reach the average horse business owner with these ideas that I'm giving you, that's not specific enough. I want you to actually know who you are trying to reach, who you're trying to connect with, and then take these practical ideas I'm about to give you and apply them, okay? So, number one, the first idea that I have for you is to actually follow hashtags that are relevant to your audience. Now, what I want you to follow is the hashtags that your ideal customer is most likely using. Because the reason we're following hashtags is not just so we can add more things to our feed, because you already probably have a pretty full feed when you jump onto whatever app it is that you're getting on. But I want you to follow specific hashtags that you know your ideal person is using, so that after you create that post, you take a few minutes to go check those hashtags and see what other people are creating. See what your ideal person is creating, and then I want you to engage in those, okay? So follow that hashtag that is not just horse love, okay? It's not just horse jumper, but get a little bit more specific. So if you're training and you're in the reining world, maybe it's hashtag green reiners if you're trying to connect with those, okay? If you are a photographer, then maybe you're going to follow some local hashtags that are going to connect you with people who are involved in the horse show world and they're local, okay? So follow specific hashtags that your people are using, so that after you create that post, then you go find some people to engage with, okay? You don't just wait for them to come to you. You're going out to find them. All right, number two, when somebody likes your post, I want you to actually visit their profile, look at their content, and leave a comment. Okay, so again, think of it, it's those relationships. So do a gut check. All right, as you're doing these things, remind yourselves that you're not doing it just to serve yourself. Okay, you're doing it because you want to support other people, you want to build those relationships. So when someone likes your post, you're saying, but they didn't leave a comment. That's okay. Click on that profile, go see their content. If it's public, obviously I understand some people have a private profile, but if it's public and you can see it and engage with it, then do it. Okay, go there and show them some love and build that connection. Okay, next I want you to go look at your followers and leave a comment on their content. Okay, so how do you do that? Open your profile and go look at your followers. Literally, after create content, go to your follower list and find the people that look to be a good fit for you. Now, I understand that really this may depend on your audience, okay? If you're business to business or business to consumer and what that may look like in privacy settings. But by and large, you should be able to follow or find followers that you can engage with, because perhaps they are another business where you know your people are hanging out. Okay, so if it's your local tack shop or farm store, could you go to their account and start leaving comments and engaging with their content, because your ideal person is going to see you there. Okay, so get a little bit creative for that one if you're saying, Denise, what about privacy settings? But the point here is to go to your follower list, find the people that have already said, hey, I want to follow you, and then go to their content and engage with it. Remind them that you are there by serving them. Okay? All right, the next thing I want you to do is look at stories. Okay, look at the stories that are showing up on top of your feed and look specifically, again, for your ideal person. And this frame of mind, okay, and this 10 minutes after you post your content, what I want you to do is look at stories that are being posted by your ideal people that you follow and engage in their stories. Look for creative ways that you can clap them up, sending a little hand clap emoji, right? Or encourage them in something that they have shared on their stories. Build those connections. Find something you have in common. Again, you are building connections. That is the point of each of these things, okay? All right, I told you you had a list, okay? These are 7 things, so write them down if you need to, but these are 7 things that you can be doing when you create content to turn around and go back and find people to engage with. If they're not showing up in your content, if they're not showing up in your comments, you can go find them on social media, and this is how, okay? All right, another way that you can build those connections is to send a direct message to your new followers. Right? Now, again, this may look different. I understand that. Blanket statement, privacy settings aside, there are ways that you can direct message your new followers if they have those settings opened up, okay? And so what you're going to do is not show up in their inbox and say, hey, thanks for following. What can I help you with, right? Here are my services. Here's a link to all the things that I do. No, you're not going to do that. Instead, you're going to go look at their account, find a way to connect with them, okay? Do you see this common thread? Connection. It's very, very important, okay, to building your business. All right, so you're going to go to their profile and you're going to look for a way to connect with them, build that relationship. Again, find something you have in common. Say something about their horse. That's always a win, right? Maybe they participated in an event or a show recently. Maybe they shared about something new that they've experienced or done in their farm. There's so many things they could be sharing. I want you to intentionally look for ways that you can engage in conversation with them. Send a direct message. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. It's great to meet you. I saw X, Y, and Z on your profile. I love that. Or ask a question. I saw this. How long ago was that? Build those connections, okay? And then, of course, you can absolutely in the thread say, you know, if there's anything I can ever help you with, then just let me know. I'm happy to help. You know, so glad you're here in my Instagram world or wherever it is, okay? But new followers are a great way for you to make connections with people that could turn into your customers, okay? All right, number 6, when somebody does comment on your post or your reel or your story, whenever somebody engages with your content, I want you to intentionally reply back. Don't just like it. Don't just acknowledge by putting a like, okay? But I want you to reply and build that connection. It's going to mean so much to them. I promise you, they are going to take notice of that, and it's going to build trust. And if possible, you can ask them a follow-up question. Really build that conversation, okay? But don't just celebrate it, don't just like it, but actually build that relationship by going back and engaging. When they engage with you, keep that conversation going. All right, number 7, this is the last one, okay? I want you to be engaging in comments of pages where your people are hanging out. Now, I touched on this a little bit when we talked about followers. So when you create content, one of the things that you can do after that is say, okay, where are my people? Who are they hanging out with? Is there an association that has a social profile that you can go in there and you can engage in the comments there and make your business known to that audience? Is there a local? So some of it may be national breed associations, but it also may be local associations that are serving your ideal audience. Then get involved and follow and engage in their content, okay? Again, you need to go out and find your people. Do not just create and wait for them to come find you, okay? That is the point of each of these engagement strategies, to get outside of your bubble and go find your people and build those connections, because those connections are what's going to help turn them into your customers. Okay, now I know that I give you a lot of ideas. I am not saying you need to take 10 minutes and do every single one of those. Okay, you could essentially assign one to each day if you wanted to. There are 7 ideas. So every day when you post, when you create a story, go back and do one of these things intentionally to build those connections. So you can literally schedule this time out, because if you don't do it, what's going to happen? You're going to instead create your content, and then you're just going to leave the app, or you're just going to start engaging or scrolling and get lost in the feed. And of course, you're not going to see the return on investment of your time if you don't have an intention and a strategy behind it. And that's what these ideas would do for you. Okay. All right, I know that was a lot, so I want to hear from you which one you're going to decide to do. What are you going to do today to help you to build those connections on social media? Now, I also know that sometimes we can schedule that time ourselves, and sometimes we need somebody to hold us accountable. And that is what my one-on-one coaching program does. I told you that we talk about your content strategy. We get very clear on who you are talking to, and then build a strategy based on that and what your goals are. But if you're saying, Denise, these ideas are great, but I actually need to go deeper. I really do want some accountability to build a content strategy for my social media, for my website, for my email marketing, so that I have a plan in place. I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know it has a purpose. I know it's connected to my goals, and I have something to fall back on. So I know what days I'm posting what. I know what content categories I'm pulling from, and I know that they are helping to connect me with my right people. If that is you, I would love to invite you to check out Take the Reins. I do work with a limited number of coaching clients every quarter so that I can really engage and focus my time and effort on you. And so right now, applications are open for the upcoming quarter, and I would love to visit with you about that possibility if Take the Reins would be a fit for you. So you can head to stormlily.com/reins, frankly, at any time, and you can get all of the information there. And then if you would like to apply, the application link is there, and the next step would be that you and I get on a Zoom call together so that I can clearly understand your goals for your equestrian business and how social media, website, marketing, all of that plays a role for you, the areas that you're getting stuck, and how I may be able to help you. And we can really dive into that together and then make a plan for moving forward. So if that is you, I would love to visit with you more. You bring yourself, you bring your willingness to do the work. I will bring the accountability. I will bring the education. I will bring the curriculum and the framework that you need to really create a marketing strategy for your equestrian business. So please feel free to reach out if you have questions about that, if you would like to chat further. But either way, you can take what I have shared with you today, and I promise you, if you do these things, you will be building connections on social media that are going to turn into your customers. And they have nothing to do with following your follower count, okay? They have everything to do with remembering that building your business is going to come by building those personal relationships, okay? Investing in those, providing value, getting those customers, building the stories and testimonials, sharing those, and then continuing to build those relationships, all right? So you can do that today with what you have received. So I encourage you to go out and do that, begin building those connections. Of course, if you have any questions about these things, drop them in the comments. I am always here for it. But I appreciate you joining me here. I hope that it is so helpful to you, and I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Have an awesome day.